World of Info, and we'd like to wish you a happy new year because this is the first day that we see you in the year 2017. And today we have with us Hussein Musharafa, engineer and director of a private company, but today he's talking about competition sports or competitive sports after the age of 45. With us Dr. عمرو مبروك, professor plastic surgery at Ain Shams University, Dua Muhammad at the controls, Najla Naguib, and we'll see you until 5 o'clock, so stay with us. Hello everybody, back to you, and with us Hussein Musharafa, engineer, director of a company, and talking today about competitive sports after 45. Hello.
Hello.
Well, it's a great pleasure to have you with us, Hussein. Hussein is an engineer. He's the director of a private company, as we said. But today he's not going to talk to us about business, but he's going to talk to us about leisure, or shall I say, about life, or about changing the style of life. I've known Hussein now for the past, shall we say, 30 years, enough?
30 is a good number, good round number.
So, yes, we used to play sports together in Heliopolis Club. That was long ago. And then last 2 years ago, we met again, and I said to him, let's play more sports and let's go more into the competitive sportsman. And he said this will be tough. And I found out that he took my words literally, and he excelled, and he became this year an Ironman above 45. So tell us about that. What happened in 2 years' time? How many kilos you have lost, and how much you went into sports heavily like we did?
Well, my dear doctor, I've been always, sports was always my hobby. It was my way of, my own time, my leisure time, things that I do for my own, not for anyone else, just for me, to wind off work, to get rid of stress of life. For the past 5 years, I've had a really rough time in my company, and 2 years when we met, and you made notes that I gained more than 20 kilograms, it was enough is enough time for me. I decided to get a move on. I always did running as a sport. I never ran more than 5 kilometers in any given day.
But we did run together, remember, 20 Ks 20 years ago. To the airport and back, right?
From the 20K, I just wound it down to 5, if I can have the time. And then I met a friend, Hazim Labib, who told me that I should take up triathlon. I didn't know what triathlon is. It sounded fun, so I started up with a group of people in a triathlon club, and that took us to the sport of triathlon, which is really my kind of sport. I mean, everyone has a hobby. People would have a hobby of music, painting. My hobby is just being in the outdoors and doing something. So it was obvious that I had to train, I had to lose weight, and I had to get back to a disciplined, yet a little bit innovative style of life, because it depends heavily on your time schedule when you're training for a race that is in excess of 12 hours. The race itself. So you're putting well over 20 hours a week in the final stages of the training. So it was not a challenge as much as it was a pleasure, and it was something that I decided I will stop doing when I stop having fun. And I haven't stopped yet, so still having fun. Lost 20K, and I train avidly. Of course, I don't smoke, I don't drink, but the challenge is to fit sports inside my lifestyle. That means I made a promise to myself that I will not let go of my family duties to my kids and my wife, and I will never finish a training that at the end of the training or the competition, I feel like I just can't go out, or I can't walk, or I can't go on with my life. And that's been the rule, and it worked so far so well for me. So it's just a passion, that's all. A lot of motivation comes from my teammates. I have people that are half Ironman, like Hazim Zaid and Dr. Yasser Shaib. These are gentlemen that have far more obligations than I do, and older in some cases, but they still manage. So this keeps me going. These are teammates and my friends.
Well, actually, what happened is that you started with a triathlon, and we have talked with with Ayman Hai about triathlon 2 weeks ago of how is triathlon. It's a very competitive sport, and yet it is doable because it is lesser, of course, than half Ironman and Ironman. It's simply swimming 1,500 meters, riding a bike for 40 kilometers, and then jogging for 10 kilometers consecutively. This can be, theoretically can be done. But the idea of going into a higher level, that is the half Ironman, and then going and continuing with and finishing up with the glorious Ironman. And we always talked about the Ironman, how it is, the motto of it is that if you do this on Ironman, if you finish it, you can go on bragging about it for the rest of your life. So when we're talking about this, we have to refer of the start. So in your first intention was to finish a triathlon. And this happened 2 years back or 1 year and a half back?
No, this happened actually 3 years back. My first triathlon was in late 2014, 2 years to late 2014, and I started training mid 2014.
Yes.
And I have to say really that because of Ayman Hai and Dr. Mahmoud Hakim, the founders of the Tri Factory, that I found a very well hospitable, organized event with training facilities and guidance throughout the process. That was really what got me, what made things easy really, because of these young gentlemen who are really leaving a dent on sports in Egypt, because they're doing a fantastic job. We started 2014 with a couple of hundred people. This year we were with us, we exceeded the 2,000 as a competition pool, and then things just got. You run for 5, and then you feel better, you run for 10, and then you feel even better, you run for 20, and it just keeps going. You keep going and keep enjoying it, and in the end you find yourself ready to think, why don't I give it a go as a half Ironman? And then you get a little bit more greedy and say, why don't I try a full Ironman?
So you did 2 triathlons in the beginning, right?
Yes, I did two Olympic distances.
Yes. The first one, you were overweight, and I remember you have showed me the videos of it, and you were not very much happy about it, but you said, I finished, and I will come back with a better number and a better score, and I will definitely try as much as possible to get a better and better level. Was this the motivation? The first one was a motivation for getting more fit?
Yes, it definitely was, because first of all, I enjoyed it. Then I decided I can do better. When I finished the race, I said to myself, I thought I could do better. I knew I could do better. What I needed was more training and serious weight loss. So I lost from the first race to the second over 20 kilograms, and I managed to take almost an hour of my time.
Yes.
40 minutes of my time.
Because there is a saying that some people says that every kilo you reduce, you lose. For example, in a race as fast as long as a marathon, every kilogram weight that you lose, you reduce 10 minutes, right?
Yes, that's true. More or less, every kilogram will give you a 10-minute lead, because simply you carry your weight for 42 kilometers, you're carrying 10% or 15% less of your weight. So
yes.
It's a very easy calculative. There is a lot of science behind the sport.
So if we may say, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I really want to clarify this point, because you have just passed by a very vital, important point very smoothly, which is the loss of 20 kilograms. So when we talk about that, it was never easy. It was not tough. I know you were a good foodie at our times when we were playing together in the club, and you enjoyed food, and you think that food is one of the pleasures of life, which is totally true. How were you able to file a lawsuit against food, or a divorce against food, and choose life, and lose 20 kilograms in 1 year? This is tough. It's not as easy for somebody to hear it. It's definitely was very tough. How was that possible?
Well, first of all, I passed by a point also that said that there is a science behind sports and nutrition, and a serious science, by the way. So I did a lot of reading, and what I came up with, I've consulted a lot of people, a lot of knowledgeable people through the internet and social media, and there is a lot of applications on the mobile and on the internet that gives you guidelines on YouTube. There is a lot of data that you should collect and take to eat properly, eat everything that I like, keep eating what I like, and physically writing every gram food that I eat, looking at every day at the end of the day, how much did I eat, what are the calories that I took in my body, what did I exert in terms of training, and where is the carbohydrates fit in this, how do I use my carbohydrates properly, how do I use my protein intake properly, and my fat intake properly. And these three elements are crucial for your sports, for endurance sports. You can't run 42 kilometers on a diet. You can't cycle 180 kilometers on a diet. You can't swim 4 kilometers on a diet. It's undoable. You have to eat properly, and you have to eat probably 3 times as what you eat in a sedentary life. And at the end of the training, at the end of the 22 hours training, you'd be eating well over 4,000 calories a day. But quality calories that will help you maintain a healthy physique and a healthy endurance ability. And it's really not that difficult. It's just giving yourself the time to think about what you eat and scribbling down on a piece of paper or using an application to keep track of what you do. It is simply your intake versus your what you exert.
So you almost lost 2 kilograms per month, which is of course a very big accomplishment, right?
Yes, but you don't feel it. I mean, when you train very heavily and eat properly, and you get yourself into the passion of being disciplined and knowledgeable what you do, it's not that you weigh yourself and you say, I've lost that and I lost this. It just comes into you, it creeps into you. Your lifestyle gets better and things. Weight loss was not my goal, really. My goal was to finish up my training, every training, with enough energy to continue my daily life. And to do that, I had to eat properly, because when you're on a bicycle for 7 hours, and I did that in my trainings, and then you have to have a social event with your wife or your family, you just can't say, I'm too tired. So to do that, you have to plan yourself. You have to know that you can't do 7 hours on a bike with 20 kilograms excess. You have to lose them. So the performance becomes your guideline. What you do becomes your guideline. Your food intake, your water intake, your sleeping habits. It's just a challenge in keeping yourself disciplined, actually.
So when we're talking about discipline, we have to mention to our listeners that how young are you now, Hussein?
I am 48.
So you started this very disciplined way of playing sports 2 years back, or 2 years and 2 months, or something like that, or maybe... Yes.
2 years and 6 months.
All right. So when we talk about this 2 years and 6 months, we actually have to go back to the fact that what the sports people that like us when we were in our 20s and our late teens, when we used to play sports and we used to meet in the club every day or maybe 3 or 4 times a week, and how you start losing it as you get more and more absorbed in work. You say that you're always maintaining this running schedule or this physique schedule, but you tend on missing days and finding yourself in the end doing 2 or 3 days. Do you think that this way of competing with your own self for a timetable or a scheduled race definitely helped you to put you on the right track and don't give in any of your training programs?
Well, at the age of 45 plus, you come to realize a lot of facts in life. You're not young anymore. You can't eat whatever you want and get away with it. You can't run 2 days and still be able to compete at a competition or do whatever you want at the end of the week. You can't stay up late and wake up in the morning and go to work. You realize that your body has limitations, and then it becomes a way of looking at things differently. I would say wisely. There is a capability. You lose your fitness by 10% every decade. So if you're like on 80% peak performance in 20s, there's a 10% loss in your time, in your effort, every decade. So when you come to the age of 45 or 46 and you start, listen, I've lost a lot of time, of health. It's what does that mean? I mean, it means to me I've lost a lot of fun. I could have had better time running, cycling, swimming, because I like this. So it's about telling yourself that there is a better way of doing things. a more enjoyable way. And that's what I told you in the beginning. If when I stop enjoying doing an Ironman, I'll just stop and find something new. It is about small steps, baby steps, in the right direction, with full awareness of your age and your capabilities. Most important thing, you don't injure yourself and you enjoy it. And when you put these two goals, you just keep saying, I'm doing this, I can do better next week, I can do better next week. And at the end of the day, in 2 years or a year's time, you start missing the good feeling of training. If you go 3 days without training, you say, I want to go out running, I want to go out cycling. You feel something is missing. It becomes a habit, really.
This is very inspiring. So if you can tell our listeners an important point, which is really definitely important, which is what is the oldest person on earth who is finishing an Ironman? Do you have any information like this?
Yes, I did some research on who does what. I mean, we have people now in the 70s who are finishing Ironman, who are the category is 70s, and you see them in the competition. You see I saw a 60-year-old man from New Zealand who has done 35 Ironmans in his lifetime. And these are inspiring people, really, because here in Egypt, beyond 50, you're an old man, really. So you look at these.
Thank you for that.
You look at these people and you get inspired. To tell you small statistics that I've done in the Arab world, in Arab-speaking people, there is actually less than 4 or 5 people over 45 who finished a full Ironman.
Really?
Less than 10 who finished half an Ironman in the old Arab-speaking world. So that tells you we're really behind the crave or the way people would live their lives. People are getting healthier by the day. All around you can see the population. The people are racing with you. You get passed by ladies that are older than you. You get passed by men that are older than you, quite older than you. And
I remember that what was written once before about the marathon is that it was a very private club, the marathon finishers, that in the late 70s and the early 80s, when somebody is in a reception and saying that I've done a marathon, he's going to be the attraction of this reception, and he will be gathered around with a lot of people who are inquiring, how did you finish, how did you train, and things like that. While actually the whole truth is simply nowadays the club is increasing. The number of people who are finishing a marathon, as recent statistics, are 1 in 100,000 of the world population, right?
Yes. And it's getting more. The people are getting older and fitter, not older and weaker. You see people that in the age category of 60 that have when you rank yourself at the end of an Ironman and you find yourself number 1,000 over, let's say, 2,000 people.
Yes.
You look at the 1,000 people before you, that came before you, you'd find 60s and you'd find 50s well ahead of you. And that gives you an idea that there is a lot to accomplish, that your body can do a lot better than this. Your health can do a lot better than this. It's not about living or longer, or it's just about finding in you that there is more to be done. There is more to look for. It's amazing, because when you cross the threshold of what other people can do, then you become aware that you can do better with a little bit more effort. Not a lot more effort, really. It's just the ball keeps rolling down health way. I've read somewhere that if you swim 400 meters, you're a swimmer. Very few people can do that. If you cycle 20 Ks, very few people can do that. If you run 5K, very few people can do that. So these are small numbers, but when you look at them in the big picture, that's what you should look for. You should move. You should at least make it a habit to have 30 minutes of moving and of getting some aerobic or anaerobic activity every day, because that's what we're designed for. That's what we're built to do as humans. We're not built to sit on couches. We're not built to travel in cars. So when we do that, we're going against our own selves, really.
When we look at that, by the way, I would like to give our listeners statistics, which is, for example, the mean age of survivors in Egypt. The middle age is, or the medium age, or the mean of the age surviving is 74 in ladies and 73 in men. So due to the proper taking care of health, we find out that a lot of Egyptians are living above their 70s and they are surviving. But what type of life they are leading, this is the most important question, because most of them are going to be smokers or diabetics or hypertensive or overweight. So the choice of life you're going to be living, but most probably you're going to be handicapped, not going to have problems with your knees and your walking and your talking and things like that. This is quite difficult, don't you think so?
Absolutely, you're absolutely right, because I'll give you an example of what our Egyptians are as a people or as
population.
Generally, population are built to do. Look at the average, not wealthy, not well-off Egyptian, the average middle class or even lower middle class or poor people that are simply doing, let's say, the scaffolding climbing for building the buildings, carrying the cement and stuff up. These are the athletes. These are endurance athletes. I mean, look at the physique, the leanness of the body, the fat percentage, very low fat percentage. Look at the young Egyptians in the army, how they look like. This is they're not massively tall, they're not tiny. They are in the middle of everything, in the middle of the structure, the body structure, and muscle structure, in the right spot to do endurance athletes. We are an endurance population. Most of us are built. Look at your sons, look at your daughters. This is when they're in 20s. This is an endurance athlete. They're not built for speed. We're not Egyptians are built for very long jumps or whatever. But we are a nation of endurance people. The endurance that you have to go through, waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning and taking a microbus to your work and then working and getting back. This is what it is about, keeping your blood sugar in an area that keeps you functioning for 18 hours just by virtue of traveling around Cairo traffic.
Yes.
Or working. But then you lose it. You become fatter, you become less inclined to work as your life gets better, which shouldn't be the case. When you're living a better life, you should really challenge yourself better. Remember the days when you could do more. It was a sad thing that I noted 2 years ago. I was going to Sharm el-Sheikh for a competition, and was with me a group of young 30s doctors, I think pharmacists, with a pharmaceutical company going for a convention. Not one of them was fit. Not one of 50 or 60 young women and men in the 30s were fit. They're not poor. They're well off. They're in a plane. They're pharmacists, but not one of them is fit. So this is sad. I mean, it shouldn't be this way.
When we're talking about that, definitely we are referring to the films of the 60s and the 70s, the kind of films that we used to watch up till now on TV, those of Adil Imam, Ahmad Ramzi, and even Nasser Salah ad-Din movie. You can see that all the actors and the actresses, none of them were overweight. And even those who were overweight, for example, like the famous comedian George, was not really, he was just chubby. He was not extensively overweight.
Yes.
And when we look at that then and then afterwards to people who are now acting as John Premier in our movies, without mentioning names that we don't want to hurt our movie stars, some of them are really chubby and some of them are really overweight, or they look very much unhealthy. Maybe they are not very much slim or much overweight, but still they look fatty and not in a good athletic condition, right?
An endurance athlete should be around 7 to 12% body fat, which is quite lean. This is a quite lean physique with enough muscles to carry you through the event. This is quite lean, and you don't find it in Egyptians, the average day Egyptians, except as I told you, in youngsters around the 19th and the 20s, where they're naturally built like this, and then they just lose it. I mean, you see on the internet people abdicating food, unhealthy food, and abdicating. You don't see a lot of people abdicating healthy way of life, and that's not good, really.
Well, definitely, this is right. I don't know whether you are busy now or you can continue with us. I know that you are...
I have to go through the check in the airport. Give me 5 minutes, I'll be able to pick up just 5 minutes to go through it.
All right, call us when you're free, and it's always a pleasure to have with us Hussein Musharrafa, talking about playing sports, competitive sports after the age of 45.
And never forget he's an Iron Man.
Yes, definitely. Okay. Waiting for your phone call, Hussein. Thank you.
Back again, Word of Info with Hussein Musharrafa, engineer, director of a company, and talking today about competitive sports after 45. And we remind you that Hussein is an Ironman.
Yes. So you're back with us again. Hopefully you have finished all your things before traveling. Tell us more about the playing for the Ironman. I mean, I remember last summer when you told me that you're going for half an Ironman in Budapest. I said, wow, this is a great step forward. And then, especially that this half Ironman was just 2 weeks after Ramadan, and you had your training, which was very tough for this half Ironman during Ramadan times, and this is difficult in the summer. How was that possible?
Ramadan is very challenging. It's a very challenging time for sport because you simply can't put 4 or 5 hours training while you're fasting. You have to wait until you're done with the fasting, and you have to do it at night, which your body is not designed to do much effort at night. So to do that, I have to be a little bit innovative, and as I did always through my training. And I think that if there is something that I have as an advice for people over 45 is to be innovative, to look for gaps in the daily routine that they can fit sports, not to think to small tasks early in the morning, very early in the morning, when they're waking up for prayers, late at night when everybody's awake. So in Ramadan, I had to really innovate and work around the fact that there is not enough fluid or food energy to get me through the training. So the base thing was to do things at night and early in the morning, which actually now becomes a habit to me. Most of my training is done very early in the morning or somehow before going to bed.
But this is unphysiological if you start working out after Fajr and you play, then you'll be dehydrated all through the day. How was that possible? I mean, this is totally insane, if I may use the expression, from the medical point of view.
You start hydrating very early after the start, and you keep on hydrating all through the night. Keep on hydrating, and the term we use in triathlon is you pass white. That means you drink water white, and it comes out to you white, as white as possible.
Yes, but after that, I would like to remind you that after you finish at 7 o'clock in the morning, you'll start passing dark, so it's never white. So this is what I call insanity, because you are affecting your kidneys, right?
No, you have to hydrate, and you have to. I never train while I'm dehydrated. Dehydration will kill you really in sports.
Yes, we'll be back with Hussein in a while, so we'll take a break now and we'll get back to you. So back again with Hussein. Hi, back again.
and now the hydration really is not water, is all the salts that come with the electrolytes. So you basically spend the evening drinking, all night drinking. You basically, from iftar to sahur, you basically spend it drinking as much as possible, which is really should be a habit all through your day.
But did you used to do running after Fajr?
No, I would stop when I stop eating. I would stop sports because I have to teach my body to be fed while I'm running. So if there's no feeding, there's no sports. As simple as this. So if I can't feed myself during the run, you remember that I gave you advice of taking halawa when you run, halawa bars. If I can't feed the run or feed myself before or after or during the training, I don't train.
Well, this is very innovative, the halawa thing, because your advice to me about eating halawa proper or halawa bar, we didn't mention the name of the company, so it's not an advertisement, is really good energy. And I remember when I was running a very long run, and I found myself eating a bar every 5 kilos, and always saying, I remember my friend Hussein, he's the one who advised me. He's a lifesaver in this, right?
Yes. So it is food that our bodies, Egyptians, is used to. We are used to this. It is good for everything really. It has fat, it has carbohydrates, it has sugar, and it's what you like. I mean, you have to treat yourself every now and then to something you like.
But actually, it has a catch. After 20 Ks, I said to hell with halawa. I cannot eat more. Because it becomes very difficult to eat it.
Well, it's the food they give you in jail. So I think that this is designed to do you good, to get you through the time that you have to do the hardship, you have to go through.
Yes. So the other point is that you were telling me, which is I believe was a very good advice, even though you're an engineer and I'm the one who's a doctor. I should correct you, but you were right in that. Is that we are definitely people of endurance as Egyptians, and for us, running or playing exercise in a very hot weather is very common for us. We always remember, for example, in the 70s and the 80s, the Egyptian football teams used to play without light. And they would play, for example, in the Egyptian league, matches that started 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in a very hot summer day. If you remember the Kas Masr and these competitions in the early summer, they were done at 3 o'clock or 3:30, and people were just running like hell. So Egyptians are tough as regards their endurance towards hot weather, and this gives us an edge when you are running a marathon or a half a marathon in a country like Europe, in a country in Europe or in the States, where definitely you perform better.
I plan my full Ironman always in September because I would have peaked in October, early October, because I've peaked all my training in September, which is not that hot, but I would have done the 7-hour training and the 8-hour training a day in September. And then when I go to Europe in October, it's like competing in heaven. I mean, you ride a bicycle in the desert in 42 degrees, and then you're riding a bicycle in the mountains in Spain or by the beach in 22. It's like putting the air condition on, really. So it becomes an added plus, really, our weather and our physique and what we're built as Egyptians to do. If you remember that through the Pharaoh's days, we used to, the harvest time has always been around April, and then the working or the fields will be around August. So from the Pharaoh days, we are built to work in hot conditions, and we are an endurance population.
Yes.
It shows in our military, it shows in our military disciplines, it shows in our everywhere. If you look around you, that's what we're built to do.
Yes, and to tell you the truth, I was very pessimistic when you told me that you are going as a team of the of the Ironman going to Barcelona, and I thought that 2 or 3 only are going to finish. I found out from the 20, they were 20, right?
20 plus, yes.
And how many finished?
All but 3, but I have to say that this is not just a deed, this is a miracle, because these people started sports very early in life. These are 20s and 30-year-olds who are working much more than I am. I mean, I have my own company, I have my own time, but these are people who work as employees. They punch the clock. So these young people, led by Dr. Hakim and Ayman, did a super deed. I mean, these are really, really people to look up to, and to watch them as they will mature and be better athletes. They will do better than this, because you find young men and women in their 30s who are excelling. I mean, this is we are the biggest team in the event as a nationality, as a single team. There are, of course, a lot of people from other countries, more of us, but as Egyptians, as a team, to train together and achieve this out of 0. This is 0% of Egyptian Ironman, and then 20. And that is a very, very positive thing, and it is.
Well, I think that we have lost Hussein again, but he will try to reach us definitely, and we are stay with us because we'll have more to talk about Ironman.
Again, sorry for the lines and the problems. Hi, Hussein. How are you?
I was talking about the young men and women in my team. They're really, really better than I am. I mean, I took it as I enjoyed it, but these people gave their heart out. They came up 3 or 4 hours earlier than I did, but looking at what they did, they started from 0. I consider myself someone who planned this, looked this, had the luxury of buying somehow expensive equipment, but they did it with much less time to train and a lot of guts and endurance. So this is really a remarkable deed, the 20 people that finished.
There was also a half Ironman. I think it was soon. It's going to be in Emirates, or it was done.
No, it is coming up in a month's time, and we are going again as a team. We have now. I'm not the oldest one going, so we have Hazim Zaid, who is half an Ironman, and he's well over 52. I think 52. He's a CEO of a company. He done a half Ironman. He's doing another one in February. So this time I'm not the oldest one really, oldest name. So there are older people doing half an Ironman. And then this is a preparation for me. I'm going to do 2 half Ironman and then give Barcelona another go next October.
Inshallah.
Try to take off, inshallah, at least an hour of my time, an hour and a half.
So now you are trying to compete with yourself to reduce the time of training and increase the time of training and reduce the time of the competition, right?
Yes, enjoy it more because I really enjoy it. I enjoy seeing my time drop. I enjoy seeing my health get better, my legs fitter, my pain less. I enjoy it. I look at this full Ironman competition that I did, and I'm going to do inshallah next October again, as one of the best days in my life after my kids being born and getting married. It was really a blast.
Well, Yasmin is blessed. So it was a good day, the marriage day, right?
Yes, it was a very nice day. So one of the very nice days. The atmosphere, it's a nice thing. I like it. And as I said, I will stop when I stop liking it.
No, I don't want you to stop because this is a motivation, this is an inspiration for a lot of people. We had Amani Helmi before talking about her experience.
Iron Lady, yes.
Yes, the Iron Lady. And we're talking with the oldest Iron Man in Egypt, right? You're the oldest Iron Man?
Yes, I am. No, there is Ahmed Zahn. He doesn't live in Egypt. He lives in the US. He didn't compete this year. So for 2016, I am the oldest Iron Man in Egypt. Yes.
So how old is Ahmed?
Ahmed, I think, is 52 or 53.
Oh, that's...
But he's a professional triathlete. He has his own company in the States, and he's really an icon of the industry, one of the names in the Ironman industry, of the Hall of Fame. So he should be the first Egyptian man over 45 years.
That's lovely. Do you still have more time with us, or you have to leave right now?
I have to go.
Well,
thank you very much.
Have a safe trip. It was great to hear you, and great to share with you this experience. And we'll talk after the break with more about athletics above 45.
Always a pleasure and honor to talk to you, doctor, and may you run long and strong.
Thank you, Hussein. Have a good day. Have a good flight. Bye.
And this must be very important.
Well, yes, definitely the motivation that Hussein has given us today, and through his own experience, because as I told you, our dear listeners, I've known Hussein for the past 30 years. We used to play together in the club. We used to run together, and we always felt that we are obliged not to run much. And when we, for example, do 4 kilometers, we were very happy to do that, and we are competing on how fast we are doing that. And we found ourselves sometimes increasing our limits or pushing our limits, especially when the track of the track and field of the club were under renovations. So we had to run in the street near the club, and we found ourselves, for example, running maybe 7 to 8 kilometers, and we did it so smoothly. But why did we stop, or why were we put to a halt of not increasing our distance more than 4 kilometers? This I really don't know. We had, of course, the chance 2 or 3 times to run from the Heliopolis Sporting Club to the airport and back, and this is almost approximately 20 kilometers. But it was really tough because we felt the pressure of the cars that were running or chasing you, if we use the expression, the amount of the fumes that you are smelling in the streets, and running in the streets of Cairo is not a very easy job, even if this was in the early 90s. Trying to find your way in the 20s, 16 and 17 with more people who are motivated, like Hussein was saying, how they are pushing themselves to the limit, how they are found each other, and they started making a team where everyone who's when he's feeling down, he find his colleagues pushing him to the edge more, encouraging him to play more, and definitely motivating him to be better. So more about motivation after the break.
So back again, Word of Info, and by this we come to the end of Word of Info with Hussein Musharafa was with us.
And we have talked today about motivation in sports and playing sports after 45. Definitely this is a very important motivation and inspiring as well.
Yes, of course. And with us today was Mohammed at the controls, Dr. Amrou Mabrouk, Professor of Plastic Surgery at Ain Shams University. I'm Najla Naguib. See you next Thursday, same time, same station, FM 95.4.